have very good film. What was your process of putting the film together, and how did you bring the film down to 90 minutes?
If you were here earlier for the earlier film, you saw that they had a 3.5 hour and they had to make it 2.5 hours. I think the biggest challenge for us, two challenges in the film. So one is, as I said, India is so diverse, so diverse. It's like having a little Europe in one country. So many different languages, faiths, practices, you know, everything. So to give a realistic representation meant involving people from all these different communities. They're identifying their leaders, identifying, you know, the things they have done, contributed, you know, all of that. Fortunately for me, life has a unique way of preparing you for things to come. As a child, I have lived in India, in many, many parts of India. And my parents used to be dragging me every 3 years to a new state, and we had to learn new languages and accommodate and acclimatize to new places. And it was very, very hard, I can tell you, as a teenager, as a youngster, making friends. But I didn't know that life would one day prepare me to be here. And when I joined Remarkable Journey to be part of this team, I was able to go to all these different communities and tap into their resources because I was part of all of them, because I'd grown up being an Indian more than being a person from a certain state or whatever. And I wanted to say something so that was one challenge. And the other challenge is, of course, editing. And so every story, we looked at these stories thousands of times, which is how we know, or whatever you have said. Even without looking at you, I know those words in my head because we have done it so many times. So these stories were really precious, but we had to bring it down to the very essence of using this also as an opportunity to be a teaching tool. And one of the things we plan to do with this film is to be able to give it to all the schools so that they can use this as a teaching device. So these two were the greatest challenge for us. And I wanted to say something outside of this, which is that what I find most challenging is having grown up in India and being with people from all different faiths, having friends from everywhere and doing all that. When I came here, I had that sense within me. But here, as our communities have grown, as when I first came, there were not many Indians in certain places where I lived. I was probably the only brown person. And the moment we had others who were from the region, we would immediately be friends, didn't matter whether they were Muslims or Sikhs or anybody. But now as communities have grown, like in Morrisville and Cary and where we live, people then tend to all assimilate and go to the Gurudwara or to the temple or whatever, and then kind of isolate themselves in those communities. The biggest disadvantage being that I still feel that experience because I had that in me when I came here. But our children would not be able to have that same experience if we don't step out of those boundaries and go out and meet people from these other communities and to spend time in the Gurudwara or in the mosque or in other places and get to know each other.
How important do you feel when we talk about the next generation or even other immigrant community to maintain their originality or their roots while also assimilating with what we call American culture? So is it, you are wearing Indian sari, this being an Asian occasion, right? But then we definitely have non-Asians, so how much of that, how do you balance that out, or what do you see as the future generation would be doing?
I personally think it's a very good question, and it's very important because I can talk from my personal experience. Because at 6 years of age, I was yanked out of what I had known as my home in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, and I then went all over India. Every time I had to go, I had to learn to live within certain rules and ways of being within my own home, and yet the outside world was very different. What they talked, what they ate, what they did. Everything was very different. So adaptation is extremely important, yet a big majority of the things that we share are all core values that the entire culture shares. So tapping into that is extremely important. And when we have a good sense of our own identity, then we are able to respect the identity of others and also cooperate, collaborate, learn, adapt, and all of that. So knowing who we are is extremely important.